Tell me these are the best milkshakes.
Our businesses are. When do you have this president? And she owns chocolate?
What flavor did you order? I got what we call home black and white. No ice cream, chocolate syrup.
M&M milkshake.
Wow, nice.
Need a little texture.
Triple thick, man.
Yeah. Cheers, Mr. President.
I'm so glad you're here today. You have a doctorate in chemical engineering. It's my understanding that most natural gas pipelines, and we talked about them, are not equipped to ship blends of methane and hydrogen where the hydrogen component is greater than 20%. Could you please explain to all of us how a conventional natural gas pipeline differs from a pipeline which is capable of shipping blends with more than 20% hydrogen?
Sure. Thank you for the question, Senator Barrasso. So hydrogen, being such a small molecule and corrosive, can create cracks and attack imperfections.
Are stimulus checks going to be sent out immediately? I know many of you are wondering what's the status for a fourth round of stimulus payments. Well, new information has just been released, everybody. I know many of you are hoping for another round of enhanced child tax credit law this year passed by congressional lawmakers. However, you might live in one of the many states making plans to send more money to families between this year and 2023. The last monthly child tax credit payment was disbursed in December, with the final check arriving after parents filed their tax returns this year. There is a Republican Senate proposal that would send up to $350 per child and includes a work requirement. The proposal for Mitt Romney will restart monthly payments for millions of people. But unlike previous stimulus efforts, Romney's plan, which is officially known as the Family Security Act, could put the work requirements in place for millions of recipients. The Family Security Act will provide monthly benefits of up to $350 a month for families with children 0 to 5, and $250 per month to those with children ages 6 to 17. The maximum monthly payment for families would be $1,250, and expectant parents would be able to apply for benefits to begin 4 months prior to their child's due date. In a statement, Romney said his act creates a new national commitment to American families by modernizing and streamlining antiquated federal policies. The biggest element of Romney's plan is the inclusion of work requirements for payment recipients. Details on the exact requirements were not included in the plan, but a common threshold for a state-level benefit is 80 hours a week a month, or a comparable amount of job training or volunteer change.
They do it with these stamp-sized computers powered by Bluetooth and attached to any product or packaging, from vaccines.
It allows us to measure the temperature, the location, the authenticity.
To zucchinis.
Each zucchini that goes into a crate joins a unique monitoring path.
Smart crates monitoring everything moving from farm to fork. Williot is working with label giant Avery Dennison, which is manufacturing millions of these tags and connecting them to the cloud so they can be tracked anywhere.
Now, a new budget model indicates that the White House $10,000 student loan handout will add $330 billion to the deficit. The figure is significantly more than the $305 billion the budget office estimates will be cut from the deficit over the next decade. That is because on the new Inflation Reduction Act, which was signed into law, the president of nonpartisan committee responsible for their budget told reporters that the president repeatedly talked about how much he cared about reducing the deficit, and they may now wipe out the amount of deficit reduction in a matter of minutes with a stroke of a pen. Early today, Biden announced plans to cancel $10,000 for borrowers, making $125,000 annually. Pell Grant recipients will receive $20,000 in debt cancellation, provided their income is below $125,000 threshold. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona shared his thoughts on the issue. He said earning a college degree or certificate should give every person in America a leg up, securing a bright future, but for too many people, student loan debt hindered their ability to achieve their dreams, including buying a home, starting a business, or providing for their family. It is unclear if the federal government will seek to offset the canceled debt. This is a move likely impossible without congressional approval. According to the Treasury Department, as of February, the national debt stood at more than $30 trillion. The federal budget deficit, meanwhile, stood at $727 billion.
At this unprecedented moment in American history, when we're trying to address the crisis of climate change, guarantee health care for all, and pass real immigration reform, the last thing we need, don't let it happen. Please.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. So let's go over the very important stimulus check news. Nancy Pelosi and senators in Congress want to include more relief into the new reconciliation bill. Pelosi now faces a tightening squeeze between progressive and moderate Democrats over passing two key elements of President Biden's economic agenda. Progressive lawmakers say they will vote down the Senate-passed infrastructure bill unless it is linked to a multi-trillion-dollar social safety net bill. That includes expanding health care, paid leave benefits, tackling climate change, and raising taxes on the wealthy.
From the very beginning, my stated goal for the July and August work period has been that the Senate pass both a bipartisan infrastructure bill and a budget resolution.
But now 9 moderate Democrats say they will not vote to begin writing the $3.5 trillion bill until the House passes the infrastructure legislation the Senate passed last week and then sends it to Biden's desk. Party is fighting over legislation. For the most part, the Democrats agree that they should pass, but the order in which the bills move through Congress has become a battle between moderates and progressives, who are holding to maximize their leverage to shape both bills. For months, Pelosi has vowed to take the path preferred by her liberal members, which is backed by the White House.
And so I'm calling on private insurance companies. Don't hide behind the fine print and a technicality. Pay what you owe your customers. Cover temporary housing costs and natural disasters. And help those in need. That's what we should all be doing now.
But she has a long track record of working to protect the moderate faction of her caucus, whose political futures are likely to determine whether she remains in control of the House. Pelosi has suggested a way out Sunday in a letter to caucus, in a letter to her colleagues. The rules of committee could set up a process to advance both measures at the same time. Her Deputy Chief of Staff, Drew Hamill, said her position has not changed. The House will not vote on final passage of the infrastructure bill until the Senate passes the other spending bill, and this is a process that could still take weeks. But the 9 moderates appeared to reject that approach, saying in a joint statement that they appreciate her offer, but that their view remains consistent on passing infrastructure first. Both packages are popular and Democrats plan to run on them in the midterms, hoping voters will reward them for delivering results. House Democrats adopted a budget resolution that is needed to unblock a filibuster-proof $3.5 trillion package of domestic spending and tax breaks and teed up a vote on the Senate bipartisan infrastructure bill next month. The 220 to 212 vote capped off an eventful 24 hours of negotiating between Democratic leaders and a group of 10 party moderates who had planned to vote against the budget unless the infrastructure vote came first. And while they did not get that demand met, they did get the leadership to agree to holding the infrastructure vote no later than September 27th, a few days before the surface transportation authorizations are set to expire on October 1st. The budget was deemed adopted when the House adopted a rule setting debate parameters for the Senate-passed infrastructure bill and voting rights legislation. The rule also included language that ensures the infrastructure bill